It's like getting some oration about morality, in a porn scene. It's a total downer. Condoms destroy porn. It was thought inevitable that the industry would get infected with AIDS. It was just kind of taken for granted. In 1995, Barbara Dole, a beautiful blonde French porn star, tested HIV positive. Then, in February of 1997, Nina Cherry tested HIV positive. And then you had Jordan McKnight in summer of 1997, and there was a lot of uproar and concern. And then everything was quiet for another 6 months. People really freaked over Trisha because they really liked Trisha. In early 1998, the cases just started falling one a month. It just spun people's minds. Like, what the hell is going on here? In April of 1998, my sources got coming to me and saying, hey, it's Mark Wallace, he's the one behind it. There are girls who won't work with him. He's dangerous and he needs to be stopped. I posted that on my website April 23rd, 1998, and everybody went crazy. Mark Wallace called me and said, you did me wrong, and this is not true. But it wasn't incandescent rage that I was dealing with. It wasn't what you would expect from an innocent man who'd been totally wronged. It was way too reasonable. Mark Wallace did not want to come in for a PCR DNA test. He did not. He was avoiding it. So Sharon Mitchell let Mark slide on getting tested for a long time. So Sharon Mitchell announced at an industry meeting that Mark Wallace was patient zero and that he was HIV positive. Mark Wallace was fucked once Sharon Mitchell said, we think he's patient zero. From then on, he was fucked. I mean, you'd need to have an unbelievable public relations team to try to turn around that narrative. He said, I think maybe the girls gave it to me. It's part of what made the industry hate him. He had this test from early March that said he was HIV negative. So is Mark, like, modifying his test results? Is Mark a monster? They look at his test and it says he's a 49-year-old female and the address for the testing center is wrong. In 1996, he was written up in AVN for changing dates on his HIV test for VCA and the Renzi Productions. This is unheard of. This was not something that I know anyone else do. Can we point now at Mark and say, this is a man of such unfathomable evil? And that's what the industry did. They went from Mark is our friend to he is not one of us. And he is the one responsible for wreaking havoc on our beautiful industry. If it wasn't for Mark, everything would be blowjobs and lollipops. The dominant view was that he was a sociopath, that he knew he was HIV positive and that he was passing it along to girls in the industry. Shut up. He was just infecting girl after girl. He's a serial killer, just trying to get away with it for as long as he could. He was a man on the edge, and he understandably had a suicidal impulse, let me just end my life. What about all the other women who worked with Mark? It appeared to me that he was the most likely source for Barbara Dole's infection. He was infected in 1995, but HIV is very difficult to transmit. So it doesn't surprise me that Mark could work with women and they not get HIV. The industry had every incentive to say there was one rogue performer and one bad guy, and he was responsible for what happened here because they knew that this was the type of thing that could blow up and shut down their honeypot. We've got this thing under control. We don't need more government intervention. We don't need more government regulation. We don't need more scrutiny from the mainstream media. We don't need any bad news. This is just one rotten apple.